Good evening, melanin and marketing friends and family. It is your girl Gina here. I am so happy to be back for another day. If you can see, I have this good hat on, new purchase because your girl just had a birthday. So let's say yay for that. Also, let me turn this autofocus off on my computer because, or my camera, because I don't want it to keep changing every time I move. Anywho, I am so glad to have you here. I'm gonna actually scoot over just a little bit. But like I said, I'm glad to have you here. Glad to have you join me once again. Once again, this is Regina Patterson, your girl from RRP Marketing. I like to consider myself your marketing bestie, sometimes your business bestie, somebody who is ready to be here and help you level up in business. So what does that mean? That means that I have spent the past 15 to 20 years, if you want to combine education, focusing almost solely on marketing. And so I've worked for big businesses, small businesses, businesses in between size. And to be honest, I want to take those things that I've learned over my time and help you actually boss up, actually grow your business, have people take you seriously, so on and so forth, and be able to actually charge the rate that you want to charge and actually be able to get paid that amount of money. One thing I know, being a business owner myself, is that being an entrepreneur is no small feat. It is not for the faint at heart. And so I am here to help you and to say, hey, we're in this together. We're walking together. I'm going to teach you some things that I've learned, and maybe you can teach me some things that you've learned also, I'm sure. I am all about collaboration. I love learning from people. And so, sorry, I'm like trying to get my hair adjusted too. I love learning from people. And so let's get in it. Before we get in it, one of the things that I did want to cover is when I worked in these different companies, the one thing that I always know is that we have in common, regardless of what company you work for. I've worked for a church. I've worked for, like I said, international brands. I've worked in manufacturing, retail. It doesn't matter. The reality is that we all have goals and we all want somebody to buy or buy into something. So whether you're selling a product, a service, or you just want people to attend something or to buy into what you're actually, the message that you're selling, we all need a space of influence. And a lot of times marketing is about influence. And so what that means is marketing, we marry the goal of our client with the audience, or the people that they're trying to communicate with their potential customer, like I said, the audience and so on. And we take time to actually understand the motivations from that audience. And so I want you to come really close, really close. And I want to tell you, as a business owner, one of the things that's super important is, and I consult a lot of clients, a lot of people that I work with on this, is that you have to really take time to get to know your audience, take time to get to know your customer, and so on and so forth. Because yes, you spend a ton of time on products, on services, and in our heart of hearts, we believe that we have the best thing since sliced bread. And believe me, I want to believe it with you. A lot of times I believe that I have the best thing since sliced bread. But guess what? If my audience does not care, if they do not know about me, whatever the case is, they haven't bought into what I'm selling, then they really, they're not gonna buy. And so it's super duper important that we take the time to make sure that we craft messages and craft believability. But the only way to do this, the only way to reach your customer, is to take time to get to know your customer. And that may mean that you have to spend more time getting to know your customer than you actually do on the product or the day-to-day of managing the business itself. Because in the end, you want somebody else to make an action. So with that said, I want to say that the good news from that is that I'm your bestie. I'm your cousin. I'm here. You know, like I said, I want to help you level up. I want to help you boss up. And so the thing for me, my main goal is to make sure that I'm giving you the information that you need to boss up. So my job, I'm going to be spilling the tea. on the tips, the tricks, the secrets, and so on and so forth to make sure that you succeed. Things that we may not talk about all the time to the external world. You may hear, hey, share on social media, hey, do this, do that. But there are things that we may not ever say out loud. And in one sense, it is impossible to tell you every single thing. But there are tips and tricks that I definitely can share, and I definitely can make sure that you have a chance to, like I said, to boss up in your business. So today we are going to talk about how to create awareness. And really what that means is how to let people know that you're in business, and then also how to make sure they take you seriously. So how to let them know that you're not just saying that you're in business, but you're legit. This is not just some side hustle where I'm trying to do a get rich quick scheme, but this is legit. And so we're going to talk about that. But before we talk about that, I do want to cover a couple of things. And when we get into the meat of it, I really want to keep this video at 20 minutes max. Last week, I realized I went to a half an hour. And for me, I'm still in a lot of knowledge right now. And half an hour is just a long time to get information. And so what I did was I went back to last week's episode, and I decided to break each one of those topics out into separate topics also, that we can cover it from week to week to week. And believe me, I still have tons more tea to spill, but I really want to make sure that I do the due diligence and go through the content and the different tips and tricks with you in a timely manner. So before we go on, our housekeeping is, first of all, I want to say welcome to every single new member that we have. Last week we gained 14 new members. Let's give ourselves a round of applause for that, because that means 14 new people want to level up and boss up in their business. To the new members, make sure that you're asking questions, that you're commenting, so on and so forth, that you're sharing information, telling us how you learn. Question of the day is, where are you getting your information? How do you learn? Honey, spill the tea with us. Let us know, because I'm sure there's a spot that we don't know, and we want to learn too. Huffington Post ain't the only thing that's out there, though. I love me a good Huffington Post. And by the way, if you guys don't know HBR, Harvard Business Review, just know that one too. We are so super glad to have every new member. Melanin Marketing is only better because of you, so you are value added. Number two is we want to make sure this group continues to be a really value add group for everyone in here. And so with that being said, I am asking that we keep promotional posts down to one time a week, and that's on Mondays. And that includes things such as a like for a like, a follow for a follow, vendor spaces available, tickets available, anything for sale. Let's try to keep that down to just Mondays. And I know that may seem counterintuitive, but that is really not the way to create a sustainable business. There are places for marketing and so on and so forth, but there's also different ways that you can market with grace and let people know. Word of mouth is the best form of marketing, and being able to create authentic relationships is a big deal when it comes to actually getting your message to extend further than just you. So when you're working and you're grinding and you're saying share for a share and like for a like, think about if you just took the time to create a relationship with me, for example. And I'm not saying that I'm the only person that you could create a relationship with, but I have over 1,000 people that I'm connected with I have 900 and something people that I'm connected with on Facebook, and over 1,000 people that I'm connected with on LinkedIn, and then I have people that I'm close to, and so on and so forth. And I could be able to spread your message so much better if I knew who you were, what you offered, and so on and so forth. And your audience and your platform just got that much bigger because I know who you are and I can share that message. The next thing is, sorry, my dog is barking for a little bit, so I may have to actually go close the door. The next thing is, make sure that you do post on Monday, though. We do definitely want to support you, but if those posts, promotional posts, are posted outside of Monday, they will be deleted. And so that's one thing that I do want to make sure that everybody knows, is that promotional posts that have been shared outside of Monday will be deleted. Like I said, just to make sure that we stay pure to this mission of this group. And finally, the last piece of housekeeping before we jump into the message is that we have a special Boss Up episode coming on this Thursday, where we have a special guest, Martinique Brown, who actually decided to leave her job. You know, she decided to, well, her contract ended in her job, and she said, you know what, I'm going to do this full time. So our talk on Thursday will be about hashtags facts, self-employment, what that really looks like, what her journey looked like, so on and so forth. So I am super excited to have Martinique on the show. Also, I've known Martinique for, gosh, probably going on 10 years or so. And so I'm really, really glad to have her. I've watched her on her grind. I actually personally reached out to her to ask her if she wanted to collaborate, and she's reached out to me before also asking me, did I want to collaborate? She does a series of web shows from a multitude of things. And so just really, really eager to pick the brain of someone who said, you know what, I'm going to quit my day job and I'm going all in. By the way, I kind of did that myself. You know, I said, I'm going to quit my day job. I called my mom last year. No, I called my mom in 2017 and said, hey, if I fall, will you pick me up? Because I think that I have to quit my job. And so it's a very, very risky move. It's a very scary move. And so we want to hear from someone who's taking that risk. So with that said, we are about 11 minutes and 30 seconds in. And now we're going to talk about how to let people know how to create awareness and how to have people actually buy in and believe in you. So with that said, let's take a quick water break. Grab your mugs, your cups. And then let's get right into it. So the first step of creating awareness and making sure that people take you seriously is to, number one, take yourself seriously. What this means is that you have to say to yourself that I am a business owner. I will devote time to creating great products. I will devote time to developing a thriving business. I am committed. I put in the hard work. My effort deserves appreciation. I create product that's worth investing in. I will stick with this. And I will stick with this to win. One of the things that I know about businesses, especially when you're an entrepreneur and you're a startup and you know you may not have a lot of entrepreneurs around you, or maybe you do, is that you suffer from imposter syndrome. So whether it's going through the nuts and bolts of the business and, you know, DBA versus LLC and all those different things, you get all that piece done, you get the accounting, but then there's the psychological piece. And what you have to do with the psychological piece is that you have to actually take yourself seriously, because guess what? There are going to be a lot of people who are going to be looking at you and actually ready for you to fail. And so at a certain point, you need to know how to be your only cheerleader, and you need to know how to stick with it. Because I will raise my hand and say, when I see some people go into entrepreneurship, I kind of wait for them to fail, because I'm like, they don't know what they're doing. They don't know how hard it is, blah, blah, blah. Not that that's fair, but that's a human reaction, because we're used to the safety net of having, you know, this full-time job a lot of times. We're used to the safety net of somebody telling us A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, what to do. We're used to the safety net of being able to go to work from 8 to 5. You know, the reality of entrepreneurship is that you have to put in 70 hours, 80 hours of work, especially when you begin, and people don't know how taxing that is, how committed you have to be. But in order for your business to be taken seriously, is that you have to take yourself seriously. So for me, one of the things that I knew going into this year was that I had to take responsibility for my successes and for my failures. And I started doing that probably earlier on last year, maybe even the year before. And so I would look around at people who I think is winning and so on and so forth. And I would think to myself, like, oh my gosh, they're winning and I'm not doing as well as they are. Well, guess what? I also wasn't grinding as hard as they were. I wasn't networking the way that they were. And so you have to be important. You have to say, I'm going to do these things. I'm going to sacrifice. I'm going to feel uncomfortable, you know, when it's time. And then I'll you know, work on this thing. Another thing was that I decided to take comparison out of it. So I stopped looking at other people's businesses. And I said, Regina, you are an expert. People pay you this much money to do this for large brands. I've worked for international brands. I was a leader for international brands. You're recruited for different things. And so with that being said, why do I take myself as an imposter when I'm on my own? You know what you do. You know the skills that you have. So if one of the ways to take yourself seriously is to make yourself a list of why I'm the ish, then make yourself a list of why I'm the ish. Write down all your skills, your talents, what you bring to the table, and why you are worth every dollar that you ask for when you produce a product and so on. For me right now, I take one of the ways that I take myself seriously is I do not flinch when I tell people my prices. $50 an hour for nonprofits, $50 an hour for small companies, $150 for organizations that I know are dropping $150 or more an hour on agencies. I have 15 years of experience. Now, I couldn't do that, when I first started. I mean, in the beginning, I was doing clients for free. I needed to build clout. I needed to build believability and so on and so forth. And regardless of whether I had 10, 15, 20 years of experience. And one thing I'll tell you is that at year 1 of experience versus year 15 of experience, I'm not the same person. I need to be charging $10 an hour, $5 an hour then, because of my knowledge and experience at that time was not where it is today. But anywho, another piece of taking yourself seriously is devoting the time, because once you invest your time and your coins into your business, you kind of get like this piece of, oh, they better take me seriously. Do they know I just paid $300 on this, or I just paid $50 on this, or I'm investing in this? Like, you have to kind of go in. So that's what I'm talking about. Let me read this these comments from Martinique. Martinique said, I think I will stick with this. Is the hardest one because when things are not working out, you do not have the energy to try something else. And that's good. The skill list suggestion about what you charge or whatever. So one of the things that I have on here, Martinique, about another piece about taking myself seriously is I will pivot if necessary. And so when I first started out, really going hardcore with RRP marketing, I was really focusing on businesses of color, also with nonprofits and so on. One of the things was I had this business model that if I have, these leadership or these marketing workshops and forums, I can charge $50 a person. If I get 10 people there, I made $500, or whatever it is. And so, I was convinced this is going to work. It's affordable. It's, they get 4 hours of marketing training. Like, who would say no to that? Well, my first event flopped. So that means pivot. And so to be honest, I got deflated. I was like, nope, I can work for somebody else and get paid, But the reality is that if you're going to be serious about your business and if you want people to take you seriously, then you have to take yourself seriously. You have to be committed and you have to be consistent. And for me right now, I have a sign that's right next to my desk, and it says that after is worth the time that's spent at this desk. I do not like sitting at this desk. I do not like working here. It's exhausting. My stomach starts to hurt sometimes, different things like that. That's one of the reasons why I have water here right now. It's not fun all the time. And we glamorize entrepreneurship so much, but nobody sees the tears that are going into it. Like I tell people, nobody saw me in the Burger King line when I was crying to my mom talking about how other people have privilege and how I just don't have the dollars to go out and buy everything that I need to invest in or whatever, and how we have to be creative. But on this Melanin Marketing channel, one thing I will say is that we come from some roots of some strong people, and we figure out how to get stuff done. We are resourceful. Black people are some of the most resourceful people that I know. So where there is a will, there is a freaking way. Like if I can see things getting set up with boxes and then a black tablecloth over it, it looks like you have this quality display, that you spent hundreds of dollars on. Black people make it happen. That's what we do. And maybe not just Black people, but one thing that I know is that we make it happen. Look at soul food. You get the leftovers and you make it delicious. So that's what we do. We rock it out. The second thing is that once you believe in yourself, and as you continue, and it's a continuous process, is that you have to develop an elevator or a short spiel, should I say. And so to communicate what you want, people are going to ask you over and over and over again, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? What do you offer? What do you offer? What do you offer? Blah, blah, blah. And they do not have 5 minutes to sit and listen to it. They may give you 30 seconds. And so you need to have multiple elevator spiels, especially as you continue to go into social media, because social media is the land of scroll, you know, and so I can see your message and see somebody else's in 2 seconds, you know. So why, you know, we need to make sure that we continue to have that conversation, that we know firmly who we are and what we are. So for me, I'm going to talk about melanin marketing and RRP marketing because they're similar but different. And if you ask me what we are, you know, I can tell you. So one of the things about melanin marketing is that we're unapologetic. Also, we're a sub-brand of RRP marketing. We're a little bit sassy. We're honest. We serve people of color, like hands down, period. We're unapologetic about that. The caveat to that is if you are here to learn about marketing to people of color and to be successful about it, then that's what we're here for also. But that's it. We don't have a lot of, you know, if, ands, or buts. Like sometimes we need safe spaces where we can go and where we can learn from each other and where we can be honest. Melanin marketing is not a spot for code switching. You know, I will say, working in the corporate world, you're not going to see me, going back and forth, like, you know, giving you the head rolls and all this kind of stuff, not saying anything that's wrong with it, because, you know, one of the things that I love most, there was this video that was out that was like, black, 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 black. I'm a girl from the hood, and so I have some hood stuff about me, and I love the hood stuff about me, and so you can't shut that up, and you can't shut that out of me. And so melanin marketing is a place where we can be a little bit hood, a little bit corporate, a little bit country, a little bit rock and roll, if you get what I'm saying. So Martinique said, do you recommend prices in an elevator spiel? Not unless they ask for it. The first thing that you want to do is you want to begin to convince them that you're worth it. So you always want to put the worth of the problem first. So what problem do you solve? So that's a good question. So elevator spiels a lot of times talk about what problem I'm solving. Sometimes people don't even know they have a problem that's being solved. Commercials do it certain ways, so on and so forth. But I would say for melanin marketing, or for RRP marketing in general, for organizations for RRP marketing, sometimes I'm solving the time issue that they have. Sometimes I'm solving the fact they're not designers. Sometimes I'm solving the fact they don't know where the heck to start or what a brand even is, you know. And so with me, that's why I lead with this 15 years of marketing. And I create the value, and I work for international organizations. I create the value, and I have an MBA. That's why you see my name. It's in strategic management, so on and so forth, because I want you to understand what value I bring to the table before I drop this price on you. And then I also start really with that hourly rate of $50, because it's a very, very entry level rate. It is what you need. A pair of Jordans are $150, something like that. So you get 3 sessions with me for the same thing that you get for a pair of Jordans. You know, say a PlayStation 4 when they first came out, $600 or $400, whatever. Think about how many sessions you really can get with the consultant to grow your business, or with the designer, or whatever it is, for this for this PlayStation 4 and so on. And so when we talk about sustainability and we talk about developing wealth, we have to think about where we're actually spending our dollars and where we're not spending our dollars. If you got to go without cable for a year, hands up, hand raised, I did that, then go without cable for a year. It's not going to kill you. Get Netflix, get Hulu, read a book. It doesn't really matter. You will survive. Guess what? When you don't have cable, you grind more in your business anyway. So in RRP marketing, my spiel is 2% of the people in the world, or 2% of the people in the US, have the majority of the wealth. And so there's 98% of people who, you know, the rest of the wealth is spread out. RRP marketing is here to serve that 98%. We're here to diversify wealth by helping entrepreneurs, small businesses, mid-sized businesses, and nonprofits create sustainable businesses through smart marketing practices. And so with that, I can go into like the branding and so on and so forth, the reason why I use colors that I use, and so on and so forth. If you ever see the advertising for melanin marketing, and I'm sure you do, it's to create a fun and inviting environment, because who wants to be corporate and stuffy all the time? Like, that sucks. Like, nobody wants to be around that all the time. So let's not do that. And so I want to create a place that people actually want to go to, you know, where we can have conversations, we can chat, we can be who we are. And then probably the part that most of you guys know, but we don't talk about all the time, is the third part of creating awareness is spreading the word. So the first two pieces were creating the foundation for the word that you're actually going to spread. Because how can you say, hey, look at me, think about me, all this kind of stuff, if you don't know what you're telling them to look at or to think about? And if you don't have that story that creates that value and that creates that trust. So once you start to spread the news, you have to spread that news until you get tired of it. And I'm going to come close again and then keep spreading it. You have to just, it's going to get to annoy you. And the one thing that I did hear somebody say one time before is, when you spread and you talk about it, by the time you're tired of hearing about it, it's the same time that people have actually finally started to catch on to the message. And so if you think about algorithms, all these different things between Facebook, so on and so forth, yes, there are many things that will limit your message from getting out there, but guess what? There are many ways to spread the message also. And so with spreading the message, you can do that in person. You can start with your closest circle, your family, your friends, your colleagues. You can go to networking events, you go to church, you know, I mean, heck, if you want to be out at the club passing out business cards, do it. You know, it is what it is. The second way is to go online. You spread the word online. That is through social media. That's the one place that people think of often and all the time. But think about your phone. Think about how many emails you signed up for. Email is another way to actually spread the message, whether you have a sophisticated email system or you just have, you know, you're sending out personal emails. Like, I know I've had a couple of launches and fails over time, but you know, the way I launched a couple of times was, hey, me and my friends are doing these things, we're going into business together, blah, blah, blah. And I just announced it to the world. I took as many emails as I could. Like, that's a little bit illegal, but I was a little bit illegal with it. I announced it to the world, and then I went from there. But yeah, email is definitely a good one to create awareness. The next thing is video. Once again, on social media, it does not cost a lot. You take your computer, you take your phone that you already have that you're with all the time, you get a webcam, or you just use your phone, like I said, and you start creating those videos. I just upgraded my camera. Before, I was using this webcam that I've had since 1962, since Methuselah was on Earth himself, and I was using it and the quality was poor and all this type of thing. But you know what? I had to get started somewhere. If I would have waited for a camera, I wouldn't have gotten started. Or also, if I didn't use that camera, I wouldn't have known that I wanted to upgrade to a better or to a different camera. So starting somewhere creates that momentum to keep going. And then finally, like, let's not neglect how to spread the message by phone. We all have phones. Once again, pick up your phone and use a text message, call somebody. Telemarketers are not there because they're unsuccessful. So if you think about it, there are call centers, there are telemarketers. As annoyed as we get with telemarketers, the telemarketing agency still works. And so one of the things that I will cover at a different time, because we're running short on time now, is how to market with grace. So I've talked about spreading these words and to kind of be a little bit annoying online and so on and so forth. But there is a science or an art to actually marketing with grace also. So continuing to spread your message, but at the same time to do it in a way that people says, I want to listen. And if not anything else, I've seen your message. One of the things that I will say that I'll kind of leave with is I want to talk about this R. Kelly situation, and not to dog R. Kelly. I'll talk about, you know, our president. I'll talk about all these things that are happening in the world. And one thing that I say, and I've said it about our president before, is that he was a marketing genius. If you think about R. Kelly had gone a little bit irrelevant for a while. But once his story came out, people started to pay attention to R. Kelly again. Regardless of what's happening in our country, we always have our president top of mind. And so one of the most important things is to make sure you keep your name out there top of mind. We may not always love what we consider bad news, but in the industry, sometimes even bad news is good news. To be honest, celebrities pull PR stunts to just stay noticed and stay in the spotlight. So think about that as you continue on with your business. Think about how you can get known. Think about what your elevator spiel is. And as usual, I will continue to create resources. I have the customer service checklist on the website right now, and I am working on the seasonal checklist also. And so, like I said, I'll just keep these coming out so that you can have a handy dandy list to refer to over time. So thank you guys for tuning in. I hope that this was worth 20 to 30 minutes of your time. And I appreciate you. Once again, this is Regina Patterson. My dog is really trying to get into the door, so let me hurry up and sign out. But rrpmarketing.com, look at my profile, go to the knowledge base. There is a wealth of knowledge with articles from like 2011, honey. There's stuff out there for you to learn from. And I'll tell you, my mom, I had her edit, my site, and she was going through and said she had a hard time editing because the content was interesting, so go out there, take a read, and, I'll see you guys again on Thursday at 7 o'clock Eastern time. And if not, next week, Tuesday at 8 o'clock again. Holla at your girl. I will talk to you later.